Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be episode 145 for you guys today. Of course, this episode is going to be coming out on all four of our platforms, our Instagram account, our Facebook account, our YouTube account, and our Apple Podcast account. So let's go ahead and dive into the first segment of episode 145. I'll be sharing my biggest what ifs in NBA history. So over the course of time, over the history of the NBA, I put together a pretty solid list of my biggest what ifs in NBA history. So my biggest my first biggest what if Derrick Rose never tore his ACL? What if Derrick Rose never had a torn ACL, a torn meniscus in his basketball career? Derrick Rose in the early 2010s was an absolute star at the point guard position with the Chicago Bulls in his prime. His style of play, Derrick Rose was unstoppable playmaking slasher. He was fast. He was a freak of nature. He was a threat offensively on any given night out there on the court. Derrick Rose went on to become the youngest MVP in NBA history and could have easily been in the conversation for one of the best point guards of this generation, in the conversation with the likes of Steph Curry, with the likes of Damian Lillard, with the likes of Kyrie Irving and Russell Westbrook. But still to this day, I still don't understand why Tom Thibodeau had Derrick Rose out still on the court in that playoff game against the Philadelphia 76ers and the 2012 season, 2011-2012 NBA season. A minute left in the playoffs. You still have your star-studded player out there, and Derrick Rose unfortunately torn his ACL and was out. And then if you guys remember, the 8th seeded 76ers actually put away the number 1 seeded Chicago Bulls after the Derrick Rose injury. But after Derrick Rose came back the following season, he tore his meniscus. It was never the same player again, unfortunately. It has to go down. That injury, those knee injuries that Derrick Rose suffered, has to go down as one of the biggest what-ifs in NBA history, because the man was special and was on the trajectory to have an NBA Hall of Fame career. My next biggest what-if. What if the NBA never stopped Chris Paul being traded to the Los Angeles Lakers? Now, NBA commissioner, former NBA commissioner, long live David Stern. David Stern, he actually vetoed the trade of sending Chris Paul to the Lakers back in 2011 when Chris Paul was still with the Charlotte Hornets. Now, the point guard and the Black Mamba. When you think of the Black Mamba, when you think of that duo that could have been, where you had one of the best point guards of all time and one of the greatest shooting guards of all time, that could have easily been one of the best backcourt duos in NBA history. I mean, at the time, Kobe Bryant was still in the prime of his career. He was averaging 27 points per game. And at the time, Chris Paul was averaging 19 points per game and 9 assists per game. I think the duo of Chris Paul and Kobe Bryant, they were truly allowed to play with each other, with at least won one championship in the black and gold jerseys for LA. Maybe this could have given us the rightful NBA Finals matchup that we all deserve to see over the years between LeBron James and Kobe Bryant in the NBA Finals. Unfortunately, you never got that in both their illustrious Hall of Fame careers. But man, what if that trade was never vetoed? Because also, it would have never sent Chris Paul to the Lakers. Man, definitely a big what-if moment. But the next big what-if moment, what if LeBron James never joined Miami? What if the decision was never made to go to the Miami Heat back in the summer of 2010? If LeBron James never went to the Miami Heat, me personally being a Miami Heat fan, I have to say the big three never would have happened. Yes, I know there was rumors, there was talks of them teaming up potentially in New York for the Knicks, teaming up in Chicago for the Bulls. I never would have seen that. I don't think this would have ever happened. The big three of Wade, Bosh, LeBron, if they never got together in South Beach. But if LeBron never went to the Miami Heat, we would have never got the super team era in the NBA, where super teams being created left and right. And I truly believe without those 4 years in Miami that LeBron James spent in South Beach, he might not be in the conversation for being one of, if not the greatest player in NBA history. He won 2 titles there. He had the best 4 years of his NBA career in Miami on both sides of the court. LeBron's not even known for being a defensive player, but he was a good defensive player with the Miami Heat. I think those 4 years, those 4 straight trips to the NBA Finals, those 2 rings defined his legacy, and it helped him get into the conversation of being an all-time great, being remembered as one of, if not the greatest of all time. That definitely has to go down as a big what if LeBron never went to the Miami Heat. My next biggest what if the Charlotte Hornets never traded Kobe Bryant to the Lakers? Now, you look back at this years and years ago, even before I was born, Kobe Bryant was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets back in 1996. And 2 weeks after the 1996 NBA draft, he was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Vlade Divac. Now, that has to go down as the worst mistake in the Charlotte Hornets franchise's history, because you traded an all-time great in Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest shooting guards in NBA history. Kobe Bryant went on to win a total of 5 NBA titles in his illustrious Hall of Fame career, while the Charlotte Hornets has never sniffed an NBA title, let alone made an NBA Finals appearance in the franchise's history. So I do believe Kobe Bryant, if he was with the Hornets, still could have been an all-time great in Charlotte, but I don't see him being a global icon and revolutionizing the game of basketball and being that iconic figure that he set to be for generations and generations following the game of basketball. Players molding their game from the ground up, trying to have the criteria that Kobe Bryant had, the grit, the determination, the scoring ability, you name it. I don't think Kobe Bryant ever would have been that iconic global player if he never played with the Los Angeles Lakers, especially being in that market of Charlotte compared to LA. My final biggest what if the Portland Trail Blazers drafted Michael Jordan? Now, if you go back in time, back in the 1984 NBA draft, the Trail Blazers had the 2nd overall pick. And Michael Jordan was still on the clock. He was still on the boards. He was still up for grabs, while the Trail Blazers still had a chance to with their 2nd overall selection. With Michael Jordan still on the board, they decided to draft Sam Bowie. And we all know the rest is history after that draft selection. But Michael Jordan could have helped the Trailblazers win a few titles out there in Portland. Again, another franchise that has never won an NBA title. But I think the duo of Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler would have been a great duo. One of the greatest duos that we could have ever seen in NBA history. But Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen would have never been the best duo in NBA history if the Trailblazers drafted Michael Jordan, because I don't see them ever teaming up with each other. Michael Jordan's rivalry never would have even started with the Detroit Pistons if he was selected back 2nd overall in the 1984 draft instead of being the 3rd overall pick by the Chicago Bulls. But those are my biggest what ifs in NBA history.